Everything that the human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So now, before continuing with your routine, I want to invite you. Take paper and pen or your phone's notes app and write down your main goal for the next 12 months. You do not need to tell anyone, but write it down. Think about it. If this is true, why do so many people remain stuck in the same routine, complaining and not moving forward? Is the problem really a lack of motivation, or is there something deeper that we refuse to admit? The answer may be uncomfortable, but it can also set you free. Maybe the real obstacle isn't time or money, but the way you think. It's like a radar being activated. Suddenly, things that once went unnoticed start to make sense. Napoleon Hill said, "A burning desire is the starting point of all achievement." And what is a burning desire if not a clear, definite, and passionate purpose? Stay with me until the end, because I will show you what you need to change right now to break free from stagnation. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, that sudden spark of inspiration that will change everything. But guess what? That moment never comes, because motivation is not the start of action, it is its consequence. You must act first, then motivation appears, not the other way around. How many times have you sat in front of an important task, knowing exactly what to do, but making excuses? Today I'm tired. Now is not the right time. I'll start tomorrow. And suddenly a year has passed. Your life remains the same while you wait for the perfect feeling. Napoleon Hill made it clear, success is not for those who wait for inspiration. Those who truly succeed act even without desire. The discipline to do what must be done, regardless of mood, is the real difference. Think of a day when you had no desire to study, work, or train, but you forced yourself to start anyway. 10 minutes later, you were in the flow, and that energy you thought didn't exist began to appear. That's the point. But there is something few have the courage to say. You owe nothing to those who sabotage your growth. You are not obligated to maintain relationships that keep you small. You have the right and the duty to surround yourself with people and ideas that help you grow. So make this commitment with yourself. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. The tragedy is many believe they are not ready and so don't act. No one is ever truly ready. The people you admire started before feeling prepared. Arnold Schwarzenegger came from Austria with poor English and a physique unlike Hollywood standards, but he didn't wait for an invitation. He took small roles, learned acting, improved his accent, and created his own opportunities. Motivation came after action. Science proves it. A study by University College London found that it takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. At first, you feel resistance, but if you keep going, your brain adapts and it becomes natural. But if you don't take the first step, nothing changes. The perfect moment is just an illusion. He asked Hill to dedicate 20 years of his life to studying the greatest names in history to discover the formula for success. Here is a question you must ask yourself right now. How many opportunities have you missed because you waited for the perfect motivation? How many good ideas died inside your mind due to pure inertia without you taking any action? How often have you looked at someone else's life, wished for that, but deep down knew the only obstacle was your own lack of action? And if you think it's harder for me, I can't start, I challenge you with a simple task. In the next 5 minutes, take a small step towards something you have been postponing. It can be sending an important message, making a call, writing a plan, or starting an exercise. It does not matter what, as long as you break the inertia, because at that moment your mind will begin to follow. Success is not for those who wait for the perfect environment or mood, but for those who act, adapt, fail, and act again. And before you realize it, you will already be in the game. That is the key. As Napoleon Hill said, action is the true measure of intelligence. If you only watch life pass by waiting for courage, you will only gain regret. So decide now, not tomorrow, not later. Every minute of hesitation takes you farther from what you could be building. No one will do it for you. Start, even without desire, even without knowing everything. That is exactly how great stories begin. The greatest prison has no iron bars or concrete walls. It exists inside the mind of the person who fears to act. Napoleon Hill warned about invisible fears that control our decisions, paralyze our dreams, and sabotage our ability to live what we truly desire. He identified 6 basic fears: fear of poverty, criticism, illness, loss of love, aging, and death. And the scariest part is that we are all controlled by at least one of these without realizing it. During the Great Depression, Hill lost almost everything, even his faith in life itself. I ask you, what fear holds you back? Have you ever realized how much it stops you from living the life you could be living? Is it the fear of poverty that makes you accept mediocre jobs or opportunities because you believe better the devil you know? Or is it the fear of criticism that forces you to shape your ideas to please others, even though it cancels out your true self? Or the fear of failure that keeps you from even trying? Hill said fear feeds on inaction. The more you avoid facing what scares you, the stronger it becomes. It's like a monster growing in the dark. Napoleon Hill emphasized that those who don't protect their minds become prisoners of others' thoughts and influences. The reality is, most people are surrounded by stimuli, news, opinions, and conversations that, unknowingly, weaken courage, sabotage plans, and reduce vision for the future. But when you shine the light and take action, you realize it's smaller than it seemed. This isn't a nice theory from old books. A study by the American Psychological Association found that 85% of our worries never come true. And even those that happen are far less devastating than we imagined. Our minds create catastrophic scenarios that rarely occur. And this isn't just pretty philosophy. A striking example was Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight boxing world champion. For example, J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 publishers before her first book was published. Imagine if she had listened to the fear of criticism or poverty whispering she should quit and get a safe job. The world would never have known one of the most widely read sagas in history, and she wouldn't have become one of the most influential women. Choose which side you want to be on. Few people realize that what truly shapes your life isn't just your decisions, your studies, or how hard you work. It is, above all, the mental environment you live in. Fear is treacherous because it disguises itself as common sense. It says, better wait a little longer, maybe next year, maybe when things improve. That's when you lose your timing, miss the chance, and condemn yourself to regret. How many chances have you lost to this prudence disguised as cowardice? How many ideas, trips, or relationships did you bury before starting? Hill said the greatest power of fear is that it doesn't attack all at once, but creeps in slowly until you're paralyzed. The cure is to act despite it. Without a clear purpose, any difficulty becomes a reason to quit. Any distraction becomes a priority, and any excuse justifies failure. Take a moment to think. When you wake up in the morning, do you know exactly why you are getting up? Do you know where you want to direct your energy and time? So decide now, before another day passes and you continue living on autopilot. Because in the end, there are only 2 types of people, those who have a purpose and those who work for someone else's purpose. Or do you just get up because you have to, work because it is required, and go back home, hoping that somehow things will get better in the future? The truth is that without a defined purpose, you become a passenger in your own life, not the driver in control. Napoleon Hill discovered this not only by studying the most successful men of his time, but also through his own experience. In his youth, he worked as a journalist, and it was during this period that he met Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, who challenged him with a special task. This is what we call purpose. Hill could have refused. He could have said he needed a steady salary and security, but he accepted. That decision shaped not only his own destiny, but also that of millions of people around the world who still read his books and apply his teachings. The important thing is that it is clear, measurable, and matters to you, because without it, life becomes an automatic cycle of waking, working, paying bills, and repeating. Purpose is not some abstract, pretty thing to post on Instagram. Purpose is a goal, a direction, clarity about what you want to achieve, and importantly, what you are willing to give up to get there. Without purpose, any problem seems too big, and any shortcut seems too tempting. A perfect example of this is the story of Steve Jobs. When he was fired from his own company, Apple, he could have played the victim or given up, but he set a new purpose: to become indispensable again. He created Next, invested in Pixar, and years later returned to Apple, rescuing the brand and transforming it into the most valuable company in the world. That is why the first step is to do an emotional cleanse. Identify the people, content, and environments that drain you, weaken you, and sabotage your self-confidence. Gradually reduce contact with them. Replace them with readings, videos, conversations, and social interactions that challenge you to think bigger, question your excuses, and make you uncomfortably grow in a positive way. All of this happened because he had clarity about where he wanted to go, and not even a public and humiliating dismissal took him off that path. If you think this does not apply to you, you are mistaken. A Harvard Business Review study concluded that people with clearly defined goals are 42% more likely to feel fulfilled, productive, and emotionally balanced. This means it is not just about money or status. It is about peace of mind, about laying your head on the pillow feeling that the day made sense. And it does not have to be a huge purpose like changing the world. It can be paying off your debts in 1 year or achieving financial independence in 5 years. And the worst part, you start convincing yourself that this is normal, that it is like this for everyone, that there is nothing wrong. But you feel it deep inside every time you dream about something, and then immediately discard it, thinking it is too big, too hard, or too late. As long as you remain trapped inside your own head, you will get lost among worries, duties, and fears. When you do this, something powerful happens. Your mind begins to filter information, opportunities, and people connected to that goal. Without it, you don't move enough. You can't endure criticism, difficulties, or setbacks, but with it, you cross whatever is necessary, because whoever has a strong why can endure any how. Stop and think. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? What kind of conversations do they have? Who do they speak badly about? What do they think about money, success, and happiness? Because whether you want to or not, you start absorbing those beliefs. Hill called this mental contagion. He said that the dominant thoughts of the people around you inevitably affect your mental frequency. And this is not mysticism, it's pure neuroscience. A study by the University of California showed that a person's level of happiness, success, and financial behavior is directly proportional to those of their 5 closest people. The human brain is socially programmed to adapt to the group. This is a primitive survival mechanism. If the group thinks small, you think small. If the group complains, you complain. If the group gives up easily, you stop too. Napoleon Hill saw this so clearly that in Think and Grow Rich, he recommended creating a mastermind group, an alliance of minds with similar goals, able to strengthen each other and block destructive influences. He believed protecting the mind is more important than protecting any material wealth, because when the mind deteriorates, everything is lost. And there's more. Your mental diet matters as much or even more than your physical diet. What kind of content do you consume? Which profiles do you follow? What channels do you watch? How many times a day are you exposed to negative news, gossip, tragedies, or people complaining? Hill said that every repeated thought becomes a belief, and every belief shapes behavior. In other words, if you feed on fear, criticism, envy, and pessimism, that will become your reality. When Tyson had good mentors by his side, he focused on training and mental discipline, and he was unstoppable. But when he started spending time with selfish people, flatterers, and emotional parasites, his career collapsed. He admitted that the toxic mental environment and losing control over his influences were the main reasons for his downfall. Now I ask you honestly, who is shaping your mind today? Who influences your decisions, your beliefs about money, success, and what you deserve from life? If they are negative, mediocre, or complacent people, dreaming big is useless. You will sabotage yourself without even realizing it. If you think cutting some people off is too radical, remember Hill's advice. Protect your mind as you would your greatest treasure, because it is the only asset no one can steal unless you allow it. And most people allow it out of fear of seeming arrogant, being alone, or disappointing others. Choose one negative person who is influencing you badly and reduce contact with them over the next 7 days, whether in person or via social media. Instead, choose an inspiring content, book, video, or person to follow. Observe what happens. Because as Hill showed, small changes in your mental environment create deep transformations in life's outcomes. The external world only changes when the internal environment is protected. Protecting your mind is not a luxury. It is a necessity for those who want to achieve what most will never dare to try. Action comes before motivation. Those who wait to feel like changing never change. Those who wait for the perfect moment never start. And those who surround themselves with small-minded people end up living a small life. Everything you heard here only makes sense if you apply it now, before your mind tries to convince you otherwise. If you made it this far, congratulations. That already puts you ahead of many who give up halfway, but it doesn't stop here. Another step awaits you. Click now on the next video appearing on your screen. In that video, you will rise one level in your wisdom evolution and discover how to become 1% better than you are today. Because the difference between those who dream and those who achieve lies exactly in these small 1% daily improvements. Thank you very much for following me until here. I'll see you in the next video. Let's go together.